In this video, I'm going to break down for you exactly how you can make $10 million in 10 minutes and exactly how I did this. And this is a very simple process that's going to take you through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 simple steps, the problems you need to evolve, and some examples in terms of some clients who have utilized some of these strategies to crush in their business. If you don't know who I am, my name is Charlie Johnson. I sold over $15 million of programs online in fitness. And today I'm going to share with you a pile of golden nuggets I wish I knew at the beginning of my journey. Now, if we start this in sequential order, the first thing we're going to need is traffic. So eyeballs is the most important thing you need. Visibility beats ability. If people don't know you, they can't give you the money. The second thing you need to do once you've got traffic is learn to convert that into calls, so then you can then try and sell your product. Now, once we have people on calls, we then obviously need to try and close those calls and sell them into our products and service, our fitness program. Fourthly, we then want to look to scale and actually increase this offer as we go, which is going to be through paid ads and organic. And when we start to scale, we're then going to run into the fun and games of operations, hiring a team. So if we look at traffic, the best places to get traffic organically is going to be through Instagram, YouTube. Those short form platforms can go very fast, but also the value that you can give in terms of long form content. If you can get videos to blow up, this will change your business quicker than anything else. So we have to get traffic to come through, and we're looking to try and book calls. If you're using something like Instagram, the fastest way to do this is via outbound messaging and driving messages inbound into your Instagram accounts. So in my fitness business, we booked over 50,000 sales calls over time, which is wild when I work out the math on that. So I have some value in terms of how you should book calls. So one of the easiest strategies you can use is what's called the one story method. You put one story, a great bit of copy, talk about a client's pain point. So for example, if you work in the fitness niche and you want to help people get in shape, you would maybe put some copy around, which I would use AI for, why you don't need to be babysat with a personal trainer, why you just need the right program, the right plan that you need to stick to. So once we've got the calls coming in and messages coming in, we then have a conversation with them, we warm them up, and then we book them in for sales calls. Now, the number one reason most people struggle to actually close calls is because they're selling on benefits and features, not emotions. So an absolute must you must do on all calls is get partners' names, kids' names, and ask the deep, dark, uncomfortable question people do not want to ask, because that's where the gold is. There's a saying, and it's the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. So this is very apparent in closing situations with calls where people are afraid to ask the uncomfortable question to a prospect, but the reality is this is the thing that's going to get them to buy. The other big mistake I see most people when it actually comes to closing calls is that they don't actually invite people to join their program. They just state the price, it's £2,000, and then they just look blankly at them. And there's that old rule that the person who talks first loses, which is probably one of the most moronic things you can do. What I would do is I would pitch them a price, explain how it works, explain how the onboarding works, and then invite them to start. And that's essentially the process of closing in a short nutshell. When it comes to scaling, we then need more traffic to then pull through the front end to increase the calls booked, increase the calls you can close, which is going to be through ads and organic. On Instagram ads and Facebook ads, we've personally spent over $1.8 million. Now, this is the fastest way to grow, but you have to have proof of concept with your offer and make sure these two are dialed in. If you can't close calls, you will not be able to scale on paid traffic. And you also have to make sure that this big one here, your pricing is correct so that you can scale when you're using paid ads. Because if we start to jump to some of the problems that come up as you're looking to grow your business, and some of the things I've come across doing over 15 million in sales, is this number here. So it's your LTV and your CAC. So LTV stands for lifetime value and CAC stands for cost of acquisition. So you need your lifetime value, basically how much money you make per customer, to be significantly more than how much it costs you to get a customer, so then you make a profit. The reason people's ads don't work is their LTV isn't high enough to be able to bring people in, which is why you generally need to have a premium pricing with your program. So if you're currently taking sales calls and your close rate is above, let's say 60%, I would increase your program price. Even if your close rate drops to 50%, you will make more money, you will have better quality of clients, and ultimately you also have more profit in the business. Now, if we jump to the final part of this, ops and hiring a team, I've highlighted a couple of our clients we work with here who absolutely crush it with this. So I'd say in terms of an absolute operating and executing would be one of our clients, Nathan Johnson. So he took his business working with us from 30K to 120, 130K in a year because he executes very, very quickly and he's very good at it from an operational point of view. The second client I would say is actually JJ, who's another client of ours who's very good as an operator and actually managing his team to a high standard. And the reality you have to understand is if your team is poor, you are poor. If you have a shitty team, you'll have a shitty business. And this is something you have to do throughout, is create the right culture and have the right vision, which is something we're going to talk about and something that JJ's crushed and done phenomenally well with. Now, if we look at the big problems that come up once you've got some of these basics in, number one is data and tracking. If you don't know your numbers, you don't have a business, you're just playing at business. So a key thing here is understanding, are you actually tracking your profit and loss? What's your profit margin? How much money do you make every month? Do you have financial targets of what you want to make? If you don't, you definitely should. Some numbers you should be tracking would be obviously the revenue numbers I mentioned, but also things like your closing rate, your sharp rate, your churn percentage per client, per coach, your closing rate per closer, you if you're taking the calls. These are all huge metrics you need to look at. The other one I would look at is when you're looking at booking calls. In our fitness business, I was obsessed every day, and I still am in our businesses, with how many calls we're booking every day. Because this is the leading indicator in your business. If you do not have calls coming in, you have no money coming in. So this is literally pivotal. If you don't have that happening, the rest of the merry-go-round doesn't spin. So you have to focus on that first. And another important number I would look at as well, which can help from a paid ads perspective, is what's called income per call booked. And your income per call booked would essentially be, say for example, in December, I booked 10 calls and I made $10,000. You would take the total number of calls you booked, regardless if they showed up or not, divided by the total amount of revenue. So 10 calls, $10,000. The income per call booked would be $1,000. Now, why that is useful, when you're looking to scale on paid ads, it then means you know how much you can spend to book a call profitably. So another data point you need to know, which we obsess over in our business, is the cost per call booked. Because if I know I can book a call, and let's say I make $1,000, regardless whether they show up, close or whatever, just the call gets booked, and it costs me, for example, $500 to get a call booked, I know I can keep spending more because I'm basically doubling my money every time. And also as you scale this up, there's something called the law of large numbers, where essentially you get more lucky the more traffic you have, because you tend to find more diamonds in the rough. Now, when it comes to actually tracking all of this, you have to do this meticulously. And one of the big red flag mistakes I see happen over and over again is when people try to run ads, they try to do data tracking, they try to outsource it to an agency. This is one of the most stupid things you can do. Why? And I say that because I've done that 4 or 5 times. And now we run all our ads ourselves and I run them all myself. You know your audience better than anyone else. You know their pain points better than anyone else. But also, it's your credit card on file that's getting charged every day. So you have to obsess over doing this and not be lazy and learn, we talk about being the CEO, new skills. Because at new levels, you're going to have new devils and you have to constantly be growing. And if you're feeling overwhelmed in your business, that's good because it shows you're pushing it and you're trying to get to the next level of where you want to be. If everything is easy, you're probably not trying and your business isn't going to grow. Now, problems we come into next. As the business starts to grow, you then have to hire more team members. What then tends to happen a lot of the time is your client success tends to drop because you aren't training your team correctly. So you have to make sure, as important as the book calls are, that your client results are like stellar and top class. Because if you want to know the infinite way you can grow your business for free, is you do this. You essentially get referrals. If I can get my horrendous stick man client here, if I can get this dude, let's call him Jimmy, if I can get Jimmy shredded and jacked and he looks amazing, and then he refers his friend Bob and also his friend Mike, and every Jimmy refers 2 Bobs and Mikes, what do you think happens? Your business scales infinitely forever for free. And this is why client success is so important. Third big red flag that happened, and I actually knew this was going to happen. I had one of our payment processors shut down a few years ago, lost me £250,000 in a year. I nearly got banned from the platform. The next thing that then happened was in November 2021, we did our first $300,000 month. And I knew this was going to happen. We got flagged by the payment processor because we made so much money. We were seen as high risk, so they held 25% of our funds. It might actually even be 50. So one of the things you have to do in your business is what's called a SWOT analysis. So a SWOT analysis stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. We'll talk about some more threats here, but one of the key threats is having one payment processor and one way to take money into your business. This is like playing with fire and putting your dick in the pencil sharpener. That is not something you want to do. So always make sure you have multiple ways to be able to take money. Second thing, which is a big threat to your business, is you've got one lead flow source. Also had issues with that. January 2022, when we were doing 200K, 300K a month in our fitness business, pretty much all through my Instagram account, what happened? It got disabled for 3 weeks. So what did I do then? I got very good at learning new skills, which was actually running paid ads on a different account. So one of the things you have to understand is if you have something in your business that works really well, but that's the only way you bring in leads, that's like the golden goose. And if the golden goose got shot, you've got a big problem. So you have to have some diversification of traffic sources. So whether it be you go from Instagram to YouTube, or you have multiple Instagram accounts, email lists, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of these things we teach our clients and absolutely help them crush it. So this is 2 big red flags you need to make sure you're addressing your business right now. If not, you might be extinct by 2026. Next up, we have is building a sales team. So what I see is most businesses, when they get to like 40 to 60K per month, the owner's still taking pretty much all the sales calls, but the issue then arises, they don't have more time in the day to take more calls. They start to get really burnt out. They have the golden handcuffs to their business. It's almost like a golden handcuff, where they're making good money, but they can't actually spend it. They have no free time, and they can't actually scale the front end marketing because they spend all their time doing sales calls. So this is where you need to then build a sales team and bring in a phone closer. Now, I've seen this go wrong many a time because why? People rush the process. They want to get someone to come in and take the calls, and they just want to get the hell out of there. So what you want to do with this process is like Rolls Royce. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So you want to bring a closer in, test them, give them some poor quality calls, see how they handle that. If they do well, you can then start to increase the call volume. And the goal initially is if you're looking to get to 100K plus per month, you're probably going to need 2 phone closers. The problem you have at the beginning, in particular in this range here, say 40 to 60K a month, I could take sales calls for you, but you can't pay me enough to make it worth my while. So when you're paying phone closers, you generally want to pay them 10% commission. If your business is making 40 to 60K a month total, you might have, say, £30,000 per month front end. That means I can only earn £3,000 a month sales commission. So therefore, it's not going to work. This then leads into the next problem you have when you have a sales team, which is the constant battle people who have big sales teams will understand, is you don't have enough leads. Now, this is where you then have to put your CEO hat on and realize this is problem solving. And this is how you get to $10 million, is you work out the new skill to get you more leads by looking at the data. Is there something broken with our ads? Are the opt-in rates too low? Is our speed to lead too slow? There is always a reason why you're not getting as many leads as you should be. And if we actually jump over to the CEO here, the biggest thing that happens when the people aren't getting enough leads is fear. People get afraid and they go constrictive with the business. So if my business starts to slow down, I do the opposite. I get more aggressive and I'll try and do more. I'll make more content, more videos, more Instagram posts, more sales promotions, like just do more and you'll get more lucky. The other thing I also do is I will invest more into my business to try and get more skills to fix the problem. Whereas what most people do is they get afraid and then they just go into the shell and they don't have anyone help them. 2 things solve problems in life, money and people. If you have a business, you should have some money coming in, you need to save money to invest into it. You then pay the right person who can then solve the problem for you. Third thing you need to have as a CEO is vision. So where is it you want to take the business and why? And make sure that your team members understand that clearly. Again, Nathan's very clear of that. And a good example of a client I want to mention for this is Dave Kennedy. So Dave is a farmer from Ireland who makes around 150,000 euros a month. He has a clear vision that his team is fully bought in on, that he wants to build the biggest business in the world, helping farmers change their life and get in great shape. And the last part is strategy. What is the strategy that you're going to use to execute the vision with the new skills you have to then get to where you want to be? And this all links in to knowing all of the problems here and be able to solve them. So make sure sharp rates are okay, make sure the close rate's acceptable, make sure you have these numbers dialed in, because if you don't, you won't go anywhere fast. And if you're spinning your wheels right now in your business and you're not where you want to be, it's probably because you're stuck in all these problems here and you're stuck in the weeds. But if you break down how simple this is, traffic, book calls, close calls, scale, hire people, build a team. Sounds simple, right? If you want help executing that, we've helped over 500 trainers scale their business at this point. I personally done over $50 million online. We've helped over 8,000 fitness clients. If you hit the link below this video, we will walk you through exactly how we can help you find the problems you don't even know exist, because you all have blind spots. So if you hit the link below this video, you book in a free call to find out exactly how we can help you. We'll give you a ton of value on the call, and if we think you're a good fit to work with us, we'll invite you to do so. But to be transparent, we don't work with everyone, and we're very selective because we only work with the creme de la creme of coaches and people who are serious, have a vision, have a strategy, and they want new skills and not afraid. If you took value from the video, smash the like button, comment below any questions, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you next video soon.